Yes. Metzia, Daf Samech Vav Amud Beis, Samech Vav Amud Beis, Metzia. Before we start, we have to actually recap what we did last time. What did we say last time? We had a story in the Mishnah, a person borrowed an amount. I just invented the amount would be how much? Let's say $1 million. $1 million he what? Borrowed. And he told his friend, the Malve, the Loive told the Malve, the borrower told the Malve, the lender, look, I have this apartment, $2 million, nice, cute little apartment in Yerushalayim, $2 million. And what if I don't pay you after how long? 3 years? Yeah. Then I will give you the 2 million. Actually, the truth is the one who initiated this is the Malve. He wants to get the apartment worth 2 million for the price of 1 million. Is basically twisting the arm of the loive, right? Because the loive needs money. You want my money? Hey, 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 hey. If you pay me on time, meaning up to 3 years, all good, all well, then what? You pay me cash, beautiful. If you don't pay me on cash, if you don't pay me cash up to 3 years, the 3 years are gone, boom, deadline. Then your apartment of 2 million instead of 1 will be mine. So the Gemara doesn't even talk about ribis. The Gemara is only concerned by one thing called asmachta, which we're going to talk about soon. But my question is, and everybody's question is, where is ribis in the story? Why isn't that considered to be ribis? And the Mishnah says there was somebody called Baitus Ben Zunin, and he did that. He lent money to someone, yeah, looks like such a loan shark, and really he got 2 million for the price of 1. How is that okay? The Rimigash and the Rashba and the Ramban and the Gro, many of them explain in all kinds of different ways, but the idea in general is as follows. Agar natar is what's forbidden in ribis. When I rent my money, as you said, if you rent your money to someone, you rent out the money. And I say, listen, my money is for rent for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. And if you don't pay, no, even if you pay me tomorrow. I don't care if you pay in a minute or in a month, whatever, doesn't, or later, earlier, it doesn't make a difference. The mere fact I lent you my money, yeah, that means you have to pay for that halva. How much do you have to pay? Instead of 1,000 back, give me 1,200, 1,300, whatever the fixed price. Okay, that ribis is osir. The Torah doesn't like the idea that you kilu rent out your money. Kilu he hired your money for work. That is treif. Mashenken. In our case, when the person actually got the money, is what? As a loan. And the person says, I lent you $1 million, I want back $1 million. I'm not trying to make money on you. I gave him $1 million, give him back $1 million. If you wait over time, there's a knas, there's a fine. I fine you by what? Giving you a knas of 2 million. That's why that could be okay. Now, the Rashba still says, Rashba says this is avak ribis, mechzik ribis. We're so careful with ribis, right? So even though it's a nice explanation, as Rav Simkin himself was saying, but it doesn't make sense not to answer it at all, right? It should be osir because it looks like ribis. He gave 1 million and got back 2. Says the other Rishba himself, the Rivash says no. Over here, he didn't lend him money and got back the money. As we're going to see soon, and that's going to be the next piece of the Gemara, really, right from the start, the sale was an option. It's kilo 2 things were happening at once. The question is which one is plan A, which one is plan B. That's what we're going to see. It's not like I lent you money, 1 million, and you gave me back 2 million in cash, right? Right from the start, I, the Malve, was sitting, at least potentially, where? In the house. Or my eyes were in the house already as a potential buyer. And I said, sell it to me for 2, right? So it's not a regular halva, it's a mechira / halva. And that's going to be a competition now. How do we view it? Is it a mechira that can be canceled if he pays back the halva? Or is it halva that if he doesn't pay back, then the mashkon will stay by the malve? Get what I'm saying? But because we know that only halva is the oraise and mechira is the rabbanon, mechira that involves ribis is the rabbanon. So since A, this is mechira, not halva, it's a sale, potentially. Right from the start, he wants to be the owner of the house, and he gave him money, and he already had some chazak on the house. Secondly, it's not regular, I'm waiting for my money. It's a fine that past a certain time you're fined. Because of that, says Rashba, it's allowed. Don't try it at home. Ask a local Orthodox LOD. local Orthodox dayan who knows about ribis, if he can do that or not. I don't know if that's a minhag, but lemaisa, I'm saying this with a lot of caution. I'm being careful and scared to say, but the Eved, maybe it's a limud lekav schus on Haredi people, from people, Shem Shabbos people who rent out their houses and they demand what? That the renter should pay knas, right? If you don't pay up to a certain date, then every day you have to pay, I don't know, $10 more. I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. I don't know. But the Eved, maybe it's a mulakav schus because this is not ribis doraisa, and according to Rashba, not ribis at all. I don't know if it's right to do that. I'm being very careful. It's not halacha shir. But we do see that in the Rishonim, that's what they explain the Gemara, because the Gemara Lemaisa is not bothered by ribis at all. Unbelievable. The Gemara was bothered by asmachta. What's asmachta? Oh, asmachta, as we said, and we had an argument at the end of the year last time. Asmachta means, yeah, a guy stands there, I don't know, Las Vegas, not a kosher place as far as I've heard, yeah. But Lemaisa, yeah, the Zoom also. The Zoom heard Las Vegas and it stopped working. Yeah, such a firm guy. So basically, yeah, and he wants to throw $50, $100 because he wants to win. And can I rake all the money? If I won and not him, can I take all the money? Some people say in Sanhedrin, some chlokis tanoim in Bava Kuf Samech Ches, in Sanhedrin Chaf Daled. Some say like you, yes. My friends, the other gamblers, they gambled. They gave $50 because they hope to make the jackpot and get 10 million. They bought the rights, right? Okay. Other people say no. They gave the $50 reluctantly because they really, really wanted to win. They really have their eyes on the ball. They want to get that blackjack, the black whatever that is. Yeah, that's what they want. They were only there almenas that they win. If Eliyahu Novi would come to Vegas and whisper in their ears, "You're not going to win now whatsoever," they would not play. Right? It's not regular buying chances like maybe the woman will die or the husband will die by ksuba. It's just chances, yeah, believing this will happen, and there's no logic to it. It's not like a woman dying or husband dying by ksuba, which you know about. It's time luck. I don't know where the dice is going to fall or I don't know these things, Baruch Hashem, the big thing, the wheel. It's shtiyot. You're just buying luck. It's not called really vitor on your money for good reason. That much we can say. Over here, there's another aspect, and that is what? Maybe here there's also asmachta, meaning when the person said, I really need money, I'll pay within 3 years. If I don't pay within 3 years, instead of 1 million, I'll have to give him my prized apartment of 2 million. He really thinks in the bottom of his heart that that's never going to happen. He's not interested. It's a very, very B kind of plan B. He really doesn't want plan B. He wants plan A. What? Money. I got money. I'll give back the money. Yeah, he doesn't want to pay that knas of the other one. Maybe there's a tzad to say, asmachta lo kanya. And therefore, how does the Mishnah say that it is koine? We're stuck with the question. One answer was, it's Rabbi Yossi's opinion. Rabbi Yossi believes asmachta kanya. Now we come to another answer. Will help you understand also better what we're talking about, your idea. Ibois Tema. We're finally starting the Amud today. Ibois Ema, the Omer leikni me'achshov. Okay. The case over here is as follows. When the loiva said, yes, of course, you can buy my apartment of 2 million if I don't give you back what? The 1 million in 3 years' time. You know when it will be yours retroactively lemafreya from now. From the moment of alva. The alva was in what? Other Tafshin Pei Gimel, and the payment's supposed to be no later than Tafshin Pei Daled. Hey, Vov, yeah. Whatever Tafshin Pei Vov, no later than that, then you'll get the 2 million. But when will be yours? Retroactively from today. That means that plan A and plan B got mixed up. Right now, the money that he gave, since potentially from the second that the Malve gave the 1 million, and he now potentially is the owner, it's the other way around. Now it belongs potentially to who? Already to the Malve, who's more of a buyer than a Malve. And when I would turn the wheel around, if you happen to pay me back and pay back what? The 1 million before 3 years are over, then the mechira will change and I will not be the owner, be the Malva, you'll be the owner. Got it? When plan A, in other words, there's a new aspect here of asmachta tzvi. And that is, asmachta means when the person is buying shtuyot. He buys what? Even if you, a person in Vegas, he wants to buy the chances. over here, the person doesn't want to sell the house. It's plan B. It's plan B. He wants to give back the money. He wants to live in his house. He wants to leave his house in such horrible conditions. He wants to get million now, pay the bills or start a business. Then God come back with what? $1 million. Mimela plan B, as we'll say later, VE. If things don't work out, then that a person is not serious about, especially if the amounts don't make sense. Okay? That's better. That's better. It's not what he wanted. He's not sitting here in order to sell his house. So how does it work? If it does work here in the Mishnah, and we say that there was a sale, and at the end of the day, the Malva will stay with the 2 million, must be we turned around plan A and plan B. And we said, no, me'achshav, right now you're the owner. You, the Malva, of the apartment of 2 million, you bought it for 1 million. People do such deals, 50% off, wants to make aliyah. It's his house in Cherry Hill, I don't know where, yeah, London. So Mimela, what? Now, later, sale. If I come back with the money, the sale will be revoked and reversed. That's not called asmachta, because Lemaisa, there was a sale. That's one answer, and that's what it states in Shulchan Aruch. Now, on top of that, yeah, okay. You. Just to show you how weak asmachta is, Rashi says later on, asmachta is like oines. If somebody twists my arm and doesn't give me the same amount, he gives me $1 million and wants 2 million back, and I'm pressed because I don't have how to feed my kids or pay the electricity bill tomorrow, Khalila, then what? Then of course I said yes, but I'm not really serious about it. That's what asmachta means. Yes, you got it. Yeah.
So what happens to the million?
Omalei, starting today's Shiur, Omalei, Mar Yenuka, Mar Kshisha, Bnei de Rav Chizda, Le Rav Ashi. Mar Yenuka, Mar Kshisha were both Rav Chizda's sons. One of them was born when Rav Chizda was young. One of them was born when he was old. Or the other way around. One of them is called the younger, one is the oldest. The kids of the two children of Rav Chizda, they asked Rav Ashi the following question. Hachi Ami, actually, it's not a question, it actually starts as a statement first. The people of Nardo, the yeshiva man of Nardo, said on behalf of Rav Nachman, they said, "Hi, asmachta bizmane kanya. Asmachta in its right time is koine, loy zimne loy kanya." Let me just translate. Asmachta. Again, let's say there are 3 years here. There's the year of what the loan took place, right? Then there's 3 years, and then comes another time when they meet when he has to pay. Okay, and they come and they say this on behalf of Rav Nachman. During the time of the asmachta bizmane kanya, which means when he has to pay, when it's due date, when it's deadline after 3 years, then the asmachta which they agreed on 3 years ago, which was very shaky in the question, then it applies. Really asmachta kanya, the loy zimne loy kanya. But before the time is up, the asmachta is not koine, is not serious. What do you mean? Before, in the middle of the 3 years, the house is not yet his. He's not serious about it. The asmachta is really just empty talk, and the house does not belong yet to the malve. The question is, what do you mean? Omerle, what's the chiddush? Call me the anything in the world, bezimne kani, below zimne loy kani. Anything nobody spoke about before 3 years, right? The whole thing's supposed to kick in only after 3 years. True, not before that. So anything in the world, forget about asmachta. Let's say I'm very, very serious. I want to sell you something that costs 100 shekels for 100 shekels. We decided tomorrow the kinyan will kick in. Of course, tomorrow the kinyan will come, not before. What's the chiddush? Dilma must be probably hachikam ritu. That's what you really mean to say on behalf of Rav Nachman. Let me correct you and say what you probably really want to say. Ashkeche. And now again, what we're trying to do, let me give a small intro. From now on, we're going to explain that asmachta is not a cut and dry thing. Asmachta is psychology. Chazal are now going to show their beautiful koyach of psychology, showing us how, depending on all kinds of conditions, when is the person serious and real about doing this crazy deal of giving 2 million for 1 million, right? And when is he not serious? Meaning that business of asmachta, sometimes asmachta is shaky and crazy, like asmachta is, and sometimes we say asmachta is, yes, right, even though it may sound crazy, but it's right, and the person is really serious. Depends on exterior condition. Let's go. Ashkeche begoy zimne. Let's say any time between Tafshin Pei Gimel and Tafshin Pei Vov. A year and a half, that's after the loan and before the payment, right? Anytime in the middle, 3 years. He met him at the chasana, restaurant, besmedresh, whatever, Kiddush Lavano, Shalom Aleichem. He met him, the Loiv the Malve. The Omerle Kni, the Loiv out of his own accord told him, you remember the two options we spoke about a year and a half ago? That you lent me $1 million, and I said either I'll give you back the $1 million or I'll give you my $2 million apartment. And says the Malve, yes, I remember. Says the Malve, Kni, I decided now, I'm telling you, now in the middle of nowhere, no context of anything, that I'm opting for the apartment. The apartment should stay by you. I'm giving you the $2 million apartment, and I know now I'm not giving you back the money. I'm not planning on giving you back the money. I'm planning on plan B or A, depends, where they started, and really keep the apartment by you. I'm prophesizing, planning now in a year and a half, that's what's going to happen. Then we say, Kni, yes, Kani. Then we say he's serious. Why? Because why do we say that the person is doing asmachta? He's pressurized. When is a lawyer pressurized? Twice. When he gets the money and we has to give back the money. If they met in the middle of nowhere, timeline-wise, they just met in the middle, he's not pressurizing him now for the money. So Mimela, why is he me'atzmo in his own accord, the lawyer is saying, yeah, stay with the apartment? Why? Why is he doing that? Not out of pressure, but because that's what he really wants. Why is he initiating this talk? Why is he saying it? Nobody's pressurizing now. The Malvin maybe never even spoke about it in the past year and a half. You only say that of your own accord in order to what? To say that that's my serious kavanah. I'm a guy, I don't care. I became rich. I'm not going to get back the money, the apartment. I don't care. The apartment of $2 million. I'm very, very, very poor. I don't have the cash. So you stay with the apartment. Whatever, stay with the apartment. No, why not? Bosel Zimne, however, let's say he met him after the time, meaning at the end of the 3 years. At the end of the 3 years, that's pressure, deadline. Bosel Zimne v'omale kni, and he says, okay, you know what? At the end of 3 years, it says, deadline came. It's doomsday. That's it. It's cheshbon and nefesh day. Stay with the apartment. Get the apartment, and I'll stay with $1 million, which I already used. Yeah. Then we say he's not koine. He's not koine, and Bezdin would side with the poor loive. My time, why? Machmas kisufa de komerle. Because could be that at the end of the time he feels bad. He feels kisufa. He feels ashamed. He feels oivei. I don't have money now. I've no money. Maybe in a week's time he'll get money. Maybe in 2 weeks' time he'll get money. He'll be able to reverse it, and that's what he really wants. Now he can't say, give me another deadline. It's past the deadline. He feels what we say in English, lo naim, right? Words in English. He feels lo naim, feels bad, feels funny. And therefore says, I take the apartment. He has to save his face. But it doesn't mean he's really serious about it. That's exactly where asmachta kicks in. And that's worse than the guy in Vegas, right? He does it out of his own stupid free will, I'm sorry. Yeah? This guy is really twisted his arm. He's his head against the wall, back against the wall. Mimeli doesn't show seriousness. Continue. That's asmachta. It's not serious talk because look at the context. It's illness. Continues the Gemara to reject in a way to reject, in a way to support. Says the Gemara, that's not true. Even more. Even if he met in the middle of the time, not at the beginning of 3 years, not at the end of 3 years. Come out of the blue, they met at cousin Prince Abela's wedding sometime. Nami loikani. Could be even in the middle of the 3 years if they met. And in the middle of the 3 years, out of no context, it says, that agreement, stay with the apartment. Okay, you can stay with it, and I will never pay you. Stay with the house of 2 million, and I stay with $1 million. No, it's not serious talk. I buy the Komer Lekni. So why did he tell him buy? There's no pressure. Because there's no pressure now. He's not stupid. He knows that in a year and a half time, there will be pressure. Kasova, he thinks, the Love thinks, Kimati Zimne, when the time comes, I don't want him to bother me. I want to be okay ahead of time. He's a good organized person. Yeah, he says, I want him to be happy. Leave me alone. I wanted him to think, live in his dream world, that he's going to get my apartment of 2 million, even though I really own 1 million. If after 3 years he comes with a cash, he will have the right to give cash and not let him stay with the apartment, because that talk was still under pressure. As long as pressure is somewhere out there, and there's always pressure against the love is not serious, and therefore the Mishnah was wrong. The Mishnah was wrong, l'choira, right? We will have to deal with that too. Now, one solution of the Mishnah, obviously, is what we said before. That's good, right? If he says, let's reverse it and make it to a kinyan, not alva, that deals with that. Omar of Pope, but that's independent of that. Another similar set of halachas of the psychology of the human mind of a love being pressurized into crazy agreements. Omar of Pope says Rav Pope b'siyata d'ishmaye. Hi asmachta. Again, we have to now look into the fine lines. The following case, before we continue, is hi asmachta. Yeah. What happens when the person comes at the end of 3 years? The way that the loive behaves, even on that time, on that day of due date, of doomsday, that itself, his behavior indicates whether he's serious about giving the apartment or his hand is twisted and he's not serious about it and he's just pressurized into that. Asmachta. Now you tell me before we continue, when a person has money to give back, let's say I see that the guy has money, behaves like a rich man. I just saw him borrow a new Porsche and he's buying stuff and looks like a rich guy. Mistome, he'll pay me what? And I'm the malve. Mistome will pay me what? Will be pay me money, cash. Only the one pressurized because he has no cash is the oi. I have no cash. I have to be a machzir choiv. Stay with the 2 million. That's the assumption. Let's see how that translates into the cases of the Gemara. Hi asmachta. Here's asmachta case. Again, asmachta does mean that the deal here on the outside is crazy and illogical, right? But sometimes the illogical is logical. Yeah, depends on the content. Wait, zimnin kanya, zimnin loy kanya. Sometimes it's binding, sometimes it's not binding. What does it depend on? Depends on his behavior. Ashkeche, case number 1. Ashkeche de kashati shichra. Rashi says he saw him in the chanus in the bar. Yeah, the guy at the due date doesn't seem to be bothered at all. The loive, pressurized. I saw him in the pub, in the bar, drinking with his friends. Mackenzie McKinley. What's my shecham doing over there? Yeah, Shati Shichra is drinking, seems to be with no worries whatsoever. Then I assume that this guy seems to have a lot of money. He's not running from gmach to gmach, from his grandmother's Yerusha to the bank to look for money to give back. Mimele, it looks like, in a way, you can say what? Wait, you can say 2 things now. On one hand, you can say what? Chani. Why? Because mistame, the apartment is mine now. Why? Because he's not looking for the money. Mistame, he's not looking for the money because he knows, not because he doesn't worry because he's cool. The other way around. He already gave up on finding money. That's why he's not running from gmach to gmach. Because he says, I don't have to pay 1 dime because the apartment is already by him. So that shows you agreed the apartment of 2 million should stay by him. There are 2 reasons why people are blasé. Either they're very blasé and very smug because they don't care anymore because they're above the problem, or they're below the problem. Are you with me? In other words, in this case, we assume Kani. Why? He's not looking for money, not because he has money, because the apartment is bayane. Anyhow, I don't have the money to pay. Why should I worry? Let him take my 2 million apartment. That now shows retroactively that when he said 2 million, now it comes to fruition. Now the guy who's not looking for money knows, let him stay with the apartment. However, if we see in the Kamehapech Azuzi, if I see a knock on the door, where's daddy? I'm the Malve. 3 years came and my eyes are on the 2 million asset which I'm dying for. And they say, daddy's in a gmach and in a bank in a gmach, looking like crazy mehapech, looking around to find extra jobs to pay the Zuzi, to pay the 1 million. So he does want to pay the 1 million. Then loikani. Then you don't stay with your 2 million apartment. You see that the time came, doomsday came, deadline came, and Mr. Loiv is doing anything within his abilities to get the cash. So he wants to give you cash. He doesn't want you to stay with the apartment. So even though the clock ticked to 9 o'clock in the morning, your deadline is irrelevant, Mr. Malve, because then we say asmachta Yosef is not binding, because his behavior at the end of 3 years is megale. That really, right from the start, he wasn't serious about you getting the apartment. You see, he's really looking for cash, so he doesn't want you to stay with the apartment. So get out of the apartment and only stay with 1 million. How that would work out, we'll see later. Maybe he'll get half the apartment possibly. Omer lei, but now we reject that potentially, and we now play the other way. Omer le Rav Achim Medifti le Ravina. Rav Achim Medifti told Ravina about Rav Papa's statement. Wait a second. Let's calm down. All you saw is if he drinks in the bar, That shows that really he doesn't care and he can stay with the 2 million because he's not looking for money. How do you know? Maybe he's drinking, like you say in English, to drink his sorrows. He's drinking to stop fear, the fear, the pukich pachde, to not feel the fear, drink the sorrows. The Rashi says, Yain is the machleva v'noish. Purim is coming. In other words, maybe the guy's worried stiff and he's, yes, looking from gmach to gmach, between gmach and bank, it's not fun. He's drinking a bit to forget about the tsaras. That's why. It doesn't mean that he's smug about it. You can stay with the apartment. No, he's looking to give you the money. Or inami, like I said before, he's above the trouble. Ini shachrine asmachta. Could be asked a good friend or an agent that he should take care of the money. Maybe he's drinking. He's a cool guy. He's bal bitochen. He's drinking in the bar with his friends. Why aren't you looking for money? He got somebody else, Ini Shachrina. He got his friend Shimon, that he should look for the money all over. Maybe he's paying him commission, maybe it's a favor. Lamaisa, just because he's drinking doesn't show that he's serious. And therefore, maybe he's still looking for the money. As long as there's the maybe that he wants to give it back the cash and not give it the apartment, we still remain with the concept of asmachta loikanya. And this is not normal that a person would want 2 million to give for one. We stay with that. And yes, Yosef, so far it looks more like asmachta is not binding, which we'll have to deal with the Mishnah. But that's the direction. Ella. So what did Rav Papa mean? So what did Rav Papa was Rav Papa? He's not saying chas v'shalom shtiyot stam, guys drinking and that's it. Ella Omar Ravina, says Ravina, and some say Rav Papa would agree to Ravina, whatever. Says Ravina, ikapid bedomi vadekoni. Let's say you go to the guy's store when deadline came, and I want to smell and fish and get the feel of how pressurized is he. Let's say I'm the Malve. I'm an honest guy. I'm an honest person. And the rabbi told me, see how the asmachta is working. Is he pressed for money or not? So let's see. I see that he sells his own stuff. Chafotzov, shows he's poor, selling his own stuff, but he sells every item 115 shekels and 50 agorot, and not one agorah less. He's not pressurized for money. He's not selling it for dirt cheap. He's not even willing to give the people, the buyers, reduction of 1 shekel. In other words, he stays very particular and calm. I'll sell my stuff for its value, not 1 shekel less. So he's not pressurized for money. He's not pressurized for money. Again, the assumption is he's not looking to make money in any way. He's not drinking in the bar now, which can be very, very versatile kind of action. He's selling, but being very cool and not showing any weakness by giving hanacha, giving reduction. That shows that really this guy is what? Obviously not looking for money. He's rich now, and therefore he'll stay with you. He's not going to pay you now. So then you stay with the apartment. Stay with the apartment because he doesn't look like he's looking for quick cash to pay you. He's not saying, anything for half price, cash, because I have to pay cash. He's not trying to make cash. Means he wants you to stay with the apartment because it's either cash or apartment. He's not trying to make cash. Must be he wants you, the malvit, to stay with the apartment. Would have 2 million. Wait a second. Here too, you can have other interpretation to that behavior. Dilma Sova maybe thinks, why does a person not behave very hastily, selling? You know why he doesn't sell so quickly with reductions and good price? Because what's the worst thing that can happen to a businessman? Well, many things, like the tax authorities in America. But one bad thing is lotitzil ari. If people know that you're pressed for money, like shark around the fish, what do? They'll now demand you. They see that you're about to fall, and now your lands. This guy may have other fancy lands, pieces of land in other places, and people will say, "Sell me for half price the lands, the big stuff." He's selling now his pots and pans at home. If people see that he has this quick sale, I just want to make the cash. You show weakness, Mr. Businessman, then we will actually buy your lands for less. So he's playing it hard to this. Ki'ilu, he wants to get money to show as if he has money, even though he may yes be pressurized for money in order to pay the malve. And therefore he wants to pay you cash and not pay with the apartment. So don't stay with the apartment. And it's machtaloi kanya. Ella. Now comes the final verdict. Now comes the final line, and that's in Shulchan Aruch. Amar of Pope. Ikapid be'ara badekoni. Let's say that person, the loive, knock on the door, I'm the malve. 3 years are over. My name is Baitus Benzunin or the like. And the rabbi told me, no problem, Ribis, I'm coming to take your money, or I'm not, it's not money or life, money or your 2 million instead of one. And let's say I see that this guy has other lands to sell, not the metaltalim you can play with one way or the other. He has real pieces of land to sell, and not only doesn't sell them for cheap, he doesn't sell them at all. He doesn't sell. He has this apartment, $2 million in Harnof, a small one. He has other apartments. He's rich, the Loive. He has an apartment in Tel Aviv and Netanya and Ranana and Golders Green. He has different places, all kinds of dearest. He's not doing and not making any effort. I sniffle and I see he's not making any effort to sell anything. So he's not pressurized for cash. So he's not trying to pay me with cash. So I'll stay with the apartment of 2 million. And that's aloha. Here's one more case where we say asmachta is yes koine. Because again, let's summarize. At the beginning of 3 years, the very funny, dubious, questionable, that's asmachta. Questionable deal was done, doesn't smell right. 1 million, and if you done me 3 years' time, 2 million will be mine. And he says yes. Is his time saying yes, because he's pressurized? So the context shows it's not serious, it's asmachta. It's as bad as Vegas, if not worse. Or do we say, no, at the end of the day, asmachta, some people say asmachta kanya, or sometimes asmachta makes sense. As we said last week, asmachta here is not so crazy. He did me a favor, it's a business, it's not stam shtuyot. Says the Rav Papa, that's the indication. At the end of 3 years' time, you see that the guy has no pressure to pay whatsoever cash. The guy has lands. For heaven's sake, he has lands in apartments and lands in the Golan Galil, and in Australia he has lands in Melbourne. And what happens? He's not trying to sell any of them. So he's not trying to pay me the Malva cash. And therefore what? I'll stay with the apartment. That's Megala, that at the beginning was not a pressure. Because you see now he has no pressure. He could have sold him very easily and chooses not to. He's like a Gviri behaves. Mimela, he's not interested in giving cash. What's he interested in? Giving me. I should stay with the agreement of plan either A or B, depends which case, of what? Of staying with the apartment of 2 million, and that's not a smachta, or you can view it as a smachta kanyo. It's really not your fault that the shiur is behind, it's my fault for the shiur of Purim, but allow me to continue 5 minutes and then I'll be open for questions. No, it's not an ukimta. It's not an ukimta. Ukimta of the Mishnah was kni me'achshov, and it's not such a funny ukimta. This is just a case. Rav Papa here is not explaining the Mishnah. Rav Papa is telling you a new halacha. Rav Papa says, you know when a smachta would be koine, when a smachta would be binding, as Yosef said very nicely. A smachta is binding if a kimta halacha. When do you have to put on tefillin in the morning? When do we say a smachta is koine? When we see from the behavior at the end of 3 years that the guy is really smug and cool and good with that. He's not trying to change reality and get cash. And he can easily. That shows he's really, really opting for him staying with the apartment of 2 million. Why? Because he's Baruch Hashem. I'm very happy he became rich and he doesn't care about the 2 million apartment. Of course, if people say clearly, not out of pressure, let me just get something straight here. If nobody's a mal veloive, everybody here, Baruch Hashem, is rich and doesn't need alvos, yeah? And I tell you, because you're nice, I don't know why. Because, I don't know. We made a clear contract that my 1 million apartment, I'll sell you, excuse me, the other way. My 2 million apartment, I'll sell you for 1 million. It's of course it's a deal, yeah. But there was under no pressure, yeah. The whole asmachta business is there was under pressure because the guy needs to feed his family, needs alva, right? That's why people don't take loans out of fun. Maybe to feed the family, to start a business, to start a bigger business. It's done out of pressure, the alva. That's what is always the question mark hovering. Pressure. Maybe it's not serious. But if at the end of the 3 years we see there is no pressure and he's still going along with it, then about asmachta is going. Good, Taylor, clear? Give me 2 more minutes, then any other shiur is finishing in 3 minutes, and I'll be very open to any question under the sun if I know how to answer. Another, now comes the question which you kept asking. What happens now? Here's a new question. And maybe, I don't know how far we'll go, but you should realize there are 2 issues here. What is the person, the Malve, is a bit of a sharky guy. The Malve, what does he want? He wants, instead of 1 million, 2 million, and he has his eyes set on that apartment in, I don't know where, remote Eshkol. He wants that particular place. That's what he wants. Now there are two questions, twofold question. What happens is you kept asking if asmachta loy kanya, then the apartment would say is not his, it's worth two. And really, I'm only willing to give you one, right? Asmachta lo kanya, what does asmachta lo kanya mean up until now? No, I'm giving you what? I'm giving you 1 million, not two. I wasn't serious. I was acting out of pressure, and many opinion would support me, unless da da da. Wait, here comes a new question. Says the guy, okay, says the Malva, but I still want this place. Don't give me 1 million cash. I don't want your cash now. 3 years are over, honey. I want your half of your apartment in Ramat Eshkol. I want half your apartment in Arnof. There was a couple in America, an old couple of Haredi people in Borough Park, and after many years of marriage, they divorced, and nobody gave up on the house, and they split the house with a wall. They refurbished the house, and nobody gave up, nobody gave in, not him to her, not her to him. Very beautiful marriage. And they all said, we had such lousy marriage the whole life. There's such a case, real case. And they said, you know about it. And then what? And then they stayed, they split into half. I don't know, kitchen, toilet, a big house, American, wall in the middle, Berlin Wall. Now, before 90, now he says, I want half the land. That's a question. Wait a second. That's a whole new question here. Besides the 2 versus 1, that 1 million that he does get, does he have the right to get it from this particular place? Or we say, no, it's all one package deal. Since I came up with the money, even after the time, by the way, or at the time I came with the money, I'd say, no, I'll give you money now, not the apartment, right? That's a new question. Or maybe a different apartment. Wait a second. Soon you'll see. In other words, yeah, I'll give another apartment worth 1 million in Dimona, in somewhere else, 1 million in Central Bechemish, 1 million, not two. Now the question is the new question, and think about it. It's not simple. It's not simple. In other words, we have 2 issues here. We have the issue of should he get this particular apartment, or should he dafka get, or should get whatever the guy has to offer the loiva. Why do you think one side is poshut? Tell me which side is poshut and what? Okay. You know what? 1 second. Let's finish the shiur here because it's time. We'll stay with the question and see you tomorrow in the shiur. Thank you very much to all our Torah Anytime viewers, YouTube, and of course everybody here in the room. Refuah Shlema to Rabban Ben Bracha, and I'll see you tomorrow in the middle of the suspense over here. Thank you very much. You can email me akiva1971@gmail.com. Thank you.